Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I will have the passion of the previous speaker because I just felt, okay. I'm going to present today as my title appeared on the screen, but I would like to explain some of the abbreviation in this title because this is the first time for me to present in a non-medical conference. And when my colleagues at the hospital saw the title, they said, "What do you mean by that?" So I really want to explain the abbreviation in this. So do the NHS abide? The NHS is a national health system in the UK. And do they abide by the United Nations Convention on the Right of People with Disability? So I'm a child and adolescent consultant psychiatrist. I'm also a child and adolescent learning disability psychiatrist. So I see children with learning disability. I see people with learning disability, which in my eyes are neglected population. So before I go further into my presentation, I would like to tell you a little bit about the United Nations Convention on the Right of Persons with Disability. The United Nations Convention would, wants to view the person with disability as subjects, not objects, with right, who can claim those rights and make decisions for their lives based on their free and informed consent, as well as being active members of society instead of objects of charity, medical treatment, and social protection. And by the way, before I go to Article 25 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Person with Disability, that convention was made or founded or made available in 2006. It's been signed by 164 countries to date, out of the 195 world countries, and is being ratified only by 20 countries. And I don't know whether I need quickly to tell you about the difference between signing a treaty or a convention and ratifying it. Signing is, yes, you sign, but ratifying a convention means you are legally bound to that. So only 20 countries worldwide have signed this convention. Okay, so what is Article 25 that I'm concerned with? Article 25 of that convention states that the persons with disability have the right to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standards of health. All right, so, and how I'm going to use that, I'm going to do the STOMP-STAMP assessment tool. And for people who are non-medic or people in the business and management, you can claim these are key performance indicators for us to see the work. All right, so what does STOMP stand for? STOMP, the ST stand for stop over medication for people with learning disability, autism, or both. Both autism and learning disability are a form of developmental disorders. Okay, STAMP means what? Supporting treatment, appropriate medication in pediatrics or child and adolescent or anybody under the age of 18. So I'm going to start with the STOMP first. The STOMP was launched in 2016 by 6 very strong bodies in the UK: National Health System in England, Royal College of Nursing, Royal College of Psychiatrists, Royal College of General Practitioners, Royal Pharmaceutical Society, and the British Psychological Society. Then both were joined, STOMP and STAMP. They joined together because the STAMP deals with children. So the STOMP-STAMP is a pledge launched in the 3rd of December 2018 by NHS England, and it's right medication at the right time for the right reasons. Okay, and what my presentation here, I'm going to address 2 SDGs. Everyone here will say, oh, you meant to address health, SDG 3, but I'm mainly after SDG 10 to highlight or to make sure in my practice there is no any inequalities, because SDG 10 all deals with inequalities. All right, so this STOMP-STAMP campaign pledge, what does it mean? That means that when you assess a child, an adolescent with learning disability, you need to make a clear statement when you're giving them medication of indication, rationale behind it. And also you need to assess capacity. And I must admit, for most of under 18, either the parents will sign the consent form for me to treat them, or if the child is being in care, social services will do that consent to treatment. And I have to regularly monitor this and document side effects. So I've done a study, and the aim of my study quickly is to identify the compliance of the child and adolescent. Intellectual disability is the same like learning disability, psychiatric service in South Wales with the STOMP-STAMP guidelines, or key performance indicator if you wish to like, to monitor the usage of psychotropic medication. And for non-medic, psychotropic medication are medication used by psychiatrists, and some of them are stronger than the others, and this is what the studies is. All right, so it's a retrospective study. I looked at the practice the year before this study was started, but the most important thing here, just to tell you about the children with intellectual disability, I deal with anybody with an IQ below 50. So I've got two jobs, as I said, and so everyone in this study had an IQ below 50 or a cognitive assessment that showed that the IQ is below 50. And we obtain all the information from the Welsh Clinical Portal. All right, this is, by the way, for whoever is doing sustainability and recycling. This is the 5th study that I've done since the campaign was launched. I've only stopped during the COVID years. And what I used to do, I personally presented this twice. This is the second time. The first time was a conference in Thailand by association dealing purely with children with learning disability. But every trainee that comes to my department will take this project and present it and will be the main author, and I will be the second or the third author. So I help my trainees publish and present. All right. So forget about the number of children, but what I wanted to highlight here, the sample was 78 males and 22% females, and this is more or less the percentage across the studies that I've done in the 5 years, mainly to show that males have higher prevalence of neurodevelopmental disorder or learning disability compared to females. I'm not here biased, and it's not here about women. It's male just got this problem, okay? All right, so this just highlights the comorbid illnesses that these children will have on top of their learning disability. So the learning disability is just nothing but part of their problems. So the study showed that they struggle with sleep, and obesity is the commonest physical health problem in this group. Why I'm highlighting this? Because parents tend to calm their child with learning disability with challenging behavior by giving them food, and also the psychotropic medication, unfortunately, it causes weight gain and obesity. So it's a double whammy, really. All right. So obesity and constipation, as I said, are known side effects of psychotropic medication, and just given the complexity of this group, to obtain blood investigations from them to check on the physical health is another big problem. This is the age range, and as I said, all of these are below the age of 18, and we have here the fewest number was for the age group 9. All right, medication. The psychotropic medication with huge side effects, the majority of the children were on only one medication, because we do our best to avoid medication. And when I say avoid medication, unfortunately, if these kids are not medicated, they end up either being removed from their families because they hit their family badly out of challenging behavior, or end up being removed to live in a residential setting. Schools tend to get rid of them. So we're not medicating just to zombify these kids. We're medicating mainly to keep the child enjoying and maintaining relationship with his or her own family. All right, so the study really, although, as I said, I do this study every year, mainly to reflect on my practice, mainly to make sure that the rights of these kids are saved, and I'm abiding by Article 25 of the Convention, and I'm doing my best. And this is part of the practice in the United Kingdom. Is as a clinician, you have to do audit and re-audit, and just to make sure that your practice is safe. So although the study, as I started, I was dead sure I'm compliant with everything needed to be done. But unfortunately, with my very busy job, I discovered that I did not do any capacity assessment or consent for a certain age group between 16 and 17. And I'm not saying, I'm assuming, yes, they do not have capacity to consent, but the government put clear safeguarding issues to make sure that you do your best to make them consent. And if they're unable to consent, you have to do a capacity assessment, and then I have to call all stakeholders and people who are participating in the management of these children to do what we call best interest meeting. So it's not me will decide, or the consultant at the top of the team will decide on whether to treat this child or not, also, or not even the parents. We have to do a collective decision. So just to see how the rights of this group is being kept. All right. The study got limitation, mainly this one. It's a small size sample, but as I said, it's repeated. And also I excluded children with mild learning disability, and quickly, mild learning disability is anybody with an IQ between 50 and 70. All right, so what is the value really and the practical implication of this? Although this study was conducted at the national level in the UK, linking this work with the Convention on the Right of People with Disability provided for a macro level accountability framework, and engaging in a systematic time serious analysis of practice, this will ensure continual service improvement, ultimately safeguarding the right of such vulnerable children and adolescents. Thank you very much.